Well, here we are at Darnford Moors, near the lift bridge in phase 1 of the Darnford Moors Ecology Park project. Phase 1 stretches from the end of the piling and the limit of our works here to the lift bridge. It's about 120 metres long. We have yet to place orders with contractors, but there's a lot of work, preliminary works, preparatory works are already going along in terms of the fencing and the pile remedials, ready for the soil movement, which will in fact cut the profile, which will allow the contractor to put the lining. We've done, as you see, there's a lot of work being done on the steel sheet piles.
Okay, enough. Sheet piling here was installed about 20 years ago, so it stood up fairly well. The issue is though that we need to add intermediate and longer tie rods. It was installed pretty much in accordance with what British Waterways were doing at the time. Over the time of about 20 years, what's happened is the piling has tended to work its way out. So what we're doing here is we are digging out very carefully between what was 2 metre centre and 2 metre long tie rods. What we're then doing is adding intermediate tie rods and longer tie rods, and we're putting them roughly every metre. So what we're now doing is making sure that the soil pressure is naturally supported, I suppose, by the ties. We're just digging them out one at a time and working our way down and then backfilling.
Sunshine, first time for a long time, absolutely marvellous. And you'll see from the filming, there's 5 of us working here at Old Block 24, progressing the channel up towards Cricket Lane. It's Monday morning and there's 5 of us on site, which is a great thing to behold. I'm amazed at the amount of work that these lads can get through in a day. It's absolutely fantastic, and they are a credit to the volunteer force that we have at the Lichfield Canal Restoration Trust. At that, I'm going to go back to my excavator and start clearing a little more spoil so that they can get on digging out sandstone. Sandstone really is a bind at the moment. It's impeded our progress quite a lot.
In this woodland over the last few weeks, all part of creating Darnford Moors Ecology Park with excellent funding from European Regional Development Fund and HS2's Community and Environment Fund, allowing us to manage this woodland that the Trust planted 30 years ago, but has never really been managed. There will be a couple of trees that are still standing that are dead, deliberately left because they attract different sorts of insects from dead wood lying on the ground. So we've got a lot more biodiversity. If we've got more insects, you've got better pollination, you've got more birds. So it is very exciting ecological improvement project.
So today's tasks, we've got the Duke of Edinburgh Award Scheme volunteers. We've got them actually preparing some stakes as we're actually creating revetment around the lock, old Lock 29, and creating a dead hedge, or continuing the work to create the dead hedge. And really that's part of our sort of ongoing strategy for this woodland, is to sort of increase biodiversity. And in doing so, obviously attract more wildlife and what have you, so there's like a green zone, a green area. So I'm not very photogenic. Sharp tool. Obviously we've got a slight drop down into the lock, so we're going to create a dead hedge following this path up, and then eventually I think what we'd like to do is maybe have a small seating area here for people to go in and sort of enjoy the lock and enjoy the canal and sit quietly.
If you wanted an example of an ideal hedge, this wouldn't be it. And if you see hedge laying competitions on YouTube, then they're certainly not using a hedge like this for the competition. Witness mark of where what I call the decapitators have been along, which they use nowadays, the mechanical hedge trimmers they call them, which just means the new growth sprouts like a chandelier, except it's far too high. You can see a very good example here of how decades ago that should have been laid. It's grown up and there's no bottom, and in fact you've got a tree really, nothing more. So we're making the best, frankly, of a bad job in terms of actually hedging, but it looks as though it's going to be more tended rather than just abandoned. It's a long drawn out process really, just to get something that looks as though it may have taken an hour or so to do.
What are we doing? Got our usual Duke of Edinburgh volunteers and several adults of the grounds team, and we're planting a whole variety of small trees, hedging plants, to actually create a hedge on top of the bund, which is the barrier between the road and where the canal will be. And these have been donated, 500 of them, with canes and sleeves, donated by I Dig Trees, which is operated by the conservation volunteers. And so this is a countrywide initiative, and we're most grateful for this very generous donation. Let's explain why we're doing what we are doing. The birds and the bees. Yeah, mostly. You know, we're creating Darnford Moors Ecology Park. We want to increase biodiversity as much as we can by encouraging pollinators and the birds. So everything going in is, you know, blossom and or fruit or nuts. Go and get a purple one, please. Put a purple one there. We'll just vary them. And that one can go, I'll show you where.
It's marvellous. It's sunny now as well, which always helps. And we've got 8 of us here today.
Yeah, it's very difficult to a typical day, which in financial services normally sat at a desk staring at screens, so great to come out and get a bit of fresh air and give a little bit back to the community.
You'll see a lot of change by then.
Yes. Yeah. Can't wait. And yeah, we'll definitely come back and we'll bring some more volunteers.
Good. In. Oh, no. Okay, brilliant. Brilliant, yeah.
It's a great day really down at Darnford Moors on phase 1 with our contractors here.
The important thing with this stuff, this bentonite, is that it will expand, and so you've got to have what's called a confining layer on. So firstly they will dig off 300 mil of soil, they'll put the bentonite down and seal the joints, and then the confining layer goes on top of there, and that at that stage it can be left overnight. But as you can see, there's an extra couple of layers going on, there's a matting going on, and they're also putting gravel on the top. The difficult part is where the bentonite actually joins the sheet piling. If it's going to leak, that's where it'll leak, and so there's basically a 4-stage process then to join the two together. Firstly, you get a layer of bentonite, you pull the geomembrane off the top, and you offer that up to the sheet piling. There's then this bentonite putty. Handfuls of the green bentonite putty are literally thrown into the joint. Then there's a quadrant which is pushed into the corner, and lastly a further layer of bentonite is put on the top, and it's spliced in and out of the what I would call the crinkly tin shape of the sheet piling. Job done.
Well, we're just waiting to hear on the funding to be confirmed, but subject to that, we know within the next week that on-site can carry on to phase 2, which is a bit beyond the lift bridge, going up towards the winding hole and so on.
So Derek, you know, there's the swing bridge, which of course has been here for a while now. What I'm not really clear about is where will it connect up with Darnford Park? And more importantly, because everybody wants it to start, when is it actually going to happen?
Okay, so where we are today is this section will be constructed this year.
Great.
It will be in water by summer, and just behind the trees there is Lock 30, and below Lock 30 HS2 are going to be doing diversionary work. That's programmed for 2025. So come 2025, we will be connected from here all the way into Huddlesford. There's a small winding hole just up here. So but at that stage, it would be possible for boats to come through, turn around and go back. Obviously, connected with that is the fact that we have the cruising club and the mooring, so that has to be allowed for. So they will have to have their arrangements in place before there's regular use of the canal. We've got additional funding to carry on working on this section here and bringing this into water. So our intention is that we will have a section of canal in water up to just short of Darnford Lane this year. We're currently working on the design for the culvert under Darnford Lane.
Right.
So that will be the next stage. And we're also looking actively to try and get agreement with National Highways for the connections under the A38. And we would ideally hope to move that forward. So we could be into Lichfield, into Darnford Park, around about 2026, connected all the way down to...
So rumours that we'll all be dead before it happens are not true?
Absolutely.
That's a relief.
Absolutely.
Be nice to see it all happen.
Yep.
£1.50.
Yeah.
What, second hand?
Second hand, £1.50 each. You wouldn't get those at a recycling place with less than that.
200 years old.
Yeah. They're gifts, but they've got to be cleaned before they can be used again.
Yeah.
You know, they're gifts coming up from the ground. It's great.
Yeah.
It dropped and shattered straight down the middle.
Right.
So it was a complete semicircle. So I thought, I know where we can find a piece of that. There it is. Yeah. This was a section that kept falling down, Paul. I've built. See these drain holes into it?
Right, so it was a dry...
Well, it was a dry wall.
It was a dry wall,
yeah.
but you're having to
help to
make
hold
it a
it
bit
back
more
together.
solid.
Because there's a lot of salt at the back of it there, man.
Yeah. Those are 3 buttresses started.
That's the street, yeah. So they've got to be dug out again now from tomorrow. They'll dig the soil out back to the wall. I think we're not quite sure where the bottom of the wall is, so it's probably a couple of bricks below that what you can see. And then they'll put a concrete base in. They'll put some brickwork in either side, but the brickwork just acts as like shuttering. And then Friday they'll probably, although Roger did say, which I thought was a good idea, he's only going to do one at a time, and when he's done it, it's gone off, he'll cover it up. Because, I don't know if you remember, Paul, there was about 4 or 5 buttresses here, you know, to hold this lot back. They did some tremendous work, but when you look at it, you think, sometimes, I can't believe that this was done like this. I mean, for instance, Lock 18, when I was up there with Paul and Bill, we started to take a wall out on this side of the canal, and you could just flip it out. You know, it was put in like this dry.
Yeah.
And I said to Bill, this is a bloody canal wall, you know, it's supposed to hold back water, but to be fair, the bond on it was that good, it was like a maze. If ever the water had come from this side and got that side, you'd have thought, the water's gone, well, how do they get here? But you could just flick them out. There's no compo in them, and the bricks were lovely to use again.
Yeah.
You know, once you put them, stacked them and dried them, they were beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, people could come in passion and stand here and look at us and saying, I've got a trowel if you want one. And I said, I wouldn't know what to do. I wouldn't show you what to do. And one woman last week, she come back and a bloke said, who'd I have to talk to? His wife. I said, is there any good? His wife said, he's good on the computer. I said, well, you can come and lay the bricks with the computer.
Yeah, well, we can give him a job on computer just the same.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, there's 1,001 things, you know, that just throw some stone on the towpath, can't they? Or, you know, some people, as you know, just come down and plant their little plants, don't they?
Yeah.
Like the green tea.
There's a job for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I like it, Paul, because it gets me out the house, you know. Nothing better than being down here today, is there? You know.
Oh, it's lovely, isn't it?
I mean, this weather. We sat outside yesterday having our lunch. It was beautiful. I think it was fine.
Well, good morning and welcome to the Lichfield Canal. Thank you all very much for coming. My name is Peter Buck. Welcome to Darnford Moors Ecology Park. To get an idea, the original canal line went with a humpback bridge here on Darnford Lane, and it follows that hedge line right the way up to Old Lock 29, which is in those woods, and we're gonna visit today. So that's the old line. Unfortunately, we can't put the humpback bridge on Darnford Lane again, so we've had to abandon Old Lock 29 and come on a different lower line, and there's a new Lock 29 which will be built the other side of that hedge in this next field over. And then that means we can go underneath without having an enormous hump in the road. Okay, This is the end of the channels. We've done some 300-400 meters of channel. We have now we dug it out fairly roughly. We've done some final trimming of that to its final shape. And over the other side, you can see where the box culverts have been put in. Those are actually at the level they will be to go under the road, so you can see. And we dug the channel in front of that. There's quite a lot of retaining walls to be put in this area, and those will be going in over the next year. 2025 is the date that HS2 will complete. So there's no earthly reason why we shouldn't. If I've got water lapping up to here in this, and the intention is to do a test on this with a water test, and you can see the natural rainfall has already started filling it. We will put stop planks across under the bridge, and that will be tested, and that will remain full of water, hopefully, going forward. The temporary dam you're standing on, basically it is lined underneath it, so we can connect the lining from the other side up to the other side of there, and then this plug here of soil and stone will be taken out, and the lining that's on this face will be taken off. So we're trying to do everything we can for the ecology, for the environment, for whatever, and basically have people walking down here. Okay.
At Fossway, the Waterway Recovery Group are running one of their regular volunteer training camps. Over the 2 days, 10 instructors and 20 trainees from around the country will cover skills ranging from bricklaying to operating a variety of machinery. WRG have been assisting LHCRT for 25 years, and a 2-week summer camp will be held at Darnford Moors this summer.
I'm David Withington. I'm kind of known throughout Werg as Daddy Cool. It's been a long-term tradition that people don't have real names. I've been with Waterway Recovery Group for over 30 years now, helping out where we can. And this event, so we run weekend camps, week camps during the year, and on those camps there's plant to operate, machines to drive, all that sort of stuff. We decided that if we all got together at the weekend, one weekend a year, gather together all the bits of plant we might want, and spent the whole weekend just training people, putting people through the paces, getting people used to the machinery. When they then went on site, we didn't have to spend valuable working time introducing people to the machines because they had some experience, so they could then, generally they weren't going to be completely competent, but they could operate under supervision, which saved a lot of effort and actually made them, when they go on a camp, makes them feel more useful than watching somebody else do it, in fairness. There are people who are designated as instructors, mainly because we're old. Yeah. Or competent. I mean, I was an adult ed teacher anyway, so here we've got a good area to work. There's plenty of space to move about. There's things we can actually do that are useful to a certain extent. It's a convenient central point as well. And we've always had a pretty good relationship with Lichfield anyway. They've always been happy to find us a site. So it kind of works that way.
Well, today we've got a plan of what's going to happen. It's a panel for the canal, like a feature, and the idea is to have an arch, and then the back of the arch will be painted black, so it looks as if there's a tunnel. So this is just semicircle. Because the three-centred arch, it would only be about that high. It's not big enough. The three-centred arch there, look.
Yeah.
But that would have been too low. Me and Pete had a look at it and agreed It'll have to be a semi, sir. I've made the template for them, for those letters. And I can use the angle grinder to cut the blue bricks.
Oh yeah. You got your angle grinder?
It's bringing it today, but I wanted it today, so I've got it ready for Monday.
Right.
Just got to find out the height. I've done that last time.
I did that last time.
Yeah.
This fence is no good at all.
Yes, I've just got to get those posts in. And I've got to find the height I want to go. Because I can bring that wall up, whatever height, up to the bank maybe.
Hi George, what are you doing?
Oh, you're photographing the brains of this operation.
That's it, yeah. Or the beauty, I'm not sure which.
You've got no hat on you now.
No, but...
Can you hear me with the noise? No. Right. They're digging out that soil to form a buttress. So it's like a wall at 90 degrees with concrete banks. Well, because I've built the back and the back's solid, I can set the arch out now. So I fixed the centre to the correct height, and I've built the arch to suit the centre. I've filled between the arch and the back wall to make it solid.
I just want to catch our master bricklayer who's come down on his bike, because he's promised to set a very old horseshoe into a bit of heritage sort of brickwork he's doing. The old horseshoe was dug up just by Cricket Lane, almost certainly. It's come from an oss, towing a boat, 200 years ago, or thereabouts. It needs a lot of cleaning up.
Yeah.
It's encrusted with rust.
Yeah.
And mud that's set like concrete.
Oh, that's all right. That's soon clean that up.
Hefty horseshoe.
That's just John for George on Wednesday.
Okay.
you know when I mixed the compound for with the mortar for me.
Yeah, George.
And I'll be all right. Go on, carry on with that horseshoe.
Yeah.
Right.
Clean the horseshoe up.
I'll be there.
And I'll say it's Chris's fault.
Morning, Rick.
Morning.
Did you get George to clean up the horseshoe?
Yeah.
What did he say?
He said it's what a state it's in. I said, well, if you was underground for 100 years, you'd be in the same state. There's the horseshoe ready. It's been cleaned up. There's all mortar on it, and I had to use a hammer and chisel on it. And if I put this horseshoe about there, I can build a pocket for it to sit in. So.
Recording the birds song along there.
I mean, normally it's not lovely and quiet here, and I love it, Yeah. I hear the skylarks and all sorts. It's beautiful. Yeah, beautiful.
Oh, it's one of them.
So we're going to use this to pump water from the brook?
Yeah, that's the idea. But obviously we need to fix it first. We've got to fill it, and we'll just use this to top it up.
Alright.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, guys.
I feel like I'm getting paved on it.
Is it tea time?
The contractor On-site Central, is progressing well with the Phase 2 work at Darnford Moors, with the lining now complete up to the winding hole. The team has lined, on average, 12 metres of canal channel per day. Thanks to funding from BIFA award. The stop planks under the lift bridge are in place and sealed, so water testing could be commencing soon. A small team of volunteers have been laying the towpath, including edging strip, weed suppressant membrane and compacted hard core in fill. Working mostly with hand tools, as there are overhead power lines adjacent. They are using the surplus spoil generated from the contractor's grading works to level the ground behind the towpath. Sir David became involved in this project in August of last year when the trustees were assembling a funding bid for the BIFA award. We needed to include a 5-minute video outlining the project, and we needed it at short notice.
My name is David Suchet, and I'm proud to have been Vice President of the Lichfield and Hatherton Canals Restoration Trust for 20 years. I want to tell you about a very exciting new project.
I'm standing here, of course, and I really can't believe what I'm witnessing and seeing with our dear Eric and Sheila and Bob, and we're all here together to see this for us for the very first time. And well, if I can put it in plain English, I'm gobsmacked.
There's a grid on it that stops it sliding down, and this stone is of a particular grading.
I was going to say, why doesn't it all slide down?
If you try and push it and slide it, it holds together. It locks together, and it locks into the grid that is there. It's a 2-inch plastic grid that they put, and they lock it at the top.
But this is going to be heavily used.
This is going to be fairly heavily used. Yeah. We've even put on the nose here, where boats come through. Again, if somebody comes in and hits this. Yeah. Again, they would eventually knock the foot of material that is the protection to the liner off. So we've put a 6-inch layer of concrete there. Yeah. So that's good. Bought another 4,000 tonne of material. We trimmed from trimming of and shaping and profiling of the batter further down towards Darnford Lane. Moved that up here, and we hired tracked dumpers to do the job. If you saw those track dumpers.
They're
absolutely brilliant.
Brilliant, they can swivel.
This is the dead hedging that one of our lads came up with the idea to use, rather than burn it, put it in there, and the birds will nest in it. There'll be some benches in here. We've got some really wonderful. A walk into the woods. So the towpath, of course, now goes, or the nature trail towpath goes to here. That's the main towpath on this side. This is the nature trail on this, but it's a maintenance track for us as well. So it goes right. Planted all the hedging through some portions of it.
Oh, look at that! Yeah.
So it's the ecology park again. It's trying to get it really back to green.
yours a little bit of a tug your way. A little bit more. Level the rest of the top out.
Just needs to go a little bit higher.
Just stop. Yeah. Oh, you can go back to the other way. So this one underneath, that one going over the top. Okay. Legs on it. So yeah, you're off. I've got it. It's on it. I don't want to mess up. I've got it.
Morning, Mike. Good morning. Welcome back to Darnford Moor, where you see us here today. Every metre that the contractor is putting the lining in, he generates about 3 tonnes of surplus soil because he's creating the proper profile. So we're using that surplus soil here just to level up the area behind the path. Because ultimately we're still going to need to get vehicles up and down here, so that's what we're doing.
What we really want to see is the water going into phase 1.
Yeah.
Getting to look like a canal from here.
Yeah. So exciting times here at the phase 1 works. Where for the first time in over 60 years this canal is now being filled with water. The water's been obtained. We have an abstraction licence already which gets water down to Loch 30, and as part of that abstraction licence we're using it to, well, a contractor is using it. He's got a petrol generator, 110 volt submersible pump, and it's a slow process. This is just my calculation. I think there's roughly 1.5 million litres of water in this 120 metre section, so I think we're talking several days, in fact a couple of weeks, to get this section filled.
And how's the brook doing, because it's often quite dry at this time of the year?
No, I don't think we aren't making that much of an impact on the brook at all, so it's still, there's still a fair flow of water.
Yeah, some's still full. Quite overgrown the rest of it is.
Yeah. It's got a wonderful water supply, hasn't it? That's what.
Not leaking at the stop planks. I suppose we could assume that there's no serious leaks, otherwise you wouldn't have got that much in.
Only time will tell though when it's filled up to the top and they switch the pump off, whether the level stays there.
It'll take a long time to fill that bit up, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Still on the bricks then. Don't keep me down. Morning, Rick.
Morning, Paul. As you can see from last time, I've finished everything. Put the L for Lichfield and C for the canal. Using a template, you're cutting the bricks ready. Then I've built it up to form the same as the plan. I've got the plan on there. And then it was time to remove the framework, semicircle, to expose that wall I built before. And while we're at it, we've got this linseed oil, boiled linseed oil, to seal the blue brickwork and the horseshoe. It just wants another coat on another dry day, so that all the blue
Makes the
and
colour
horseshoe
stand out, doesn't it? Yeah.
So it stands out now. You can see L and C.
We were joined by the Waterway Recovery Group for one of their regular 2-week canal camps.
You know, when I saw you on the side of last, and I saw this.
What we've been doing is completing this path down here and compacting it and getting it nice and solid. We still have to finish up this area here to my right to make it a large area for access to this lifting bridge. We've also been working on down here laying the pipes for an electrical connections I should say, and I understand those are going to be used for electric boats when and if they come, and that still has to be extended down here, and we'll be working on that as well. So anyway, it's going on, and we're compacting it all down with this whacker over there, and yeah, it's coming on well. We've done a lot this week.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
What's it looking like now, right? Happy?
Yeah.
Next week, right, we're going to stone that towpath, that side, and then finish off this side as far as on site.
Are you here next week as well?
I am, yeah. Nice. Iron Age. Iron Age clinker. Russian folks. Yes, yes. Kalinka.
What I've got to do, Paul, and good morning, good to see you. What I've got to do is take that level and this level and join them up. It's going to be a difficult job, but I'm trying to find a way around to do it without cutting too many bricks. So that's what I'm doing. This is mortared because of that detail. Right. You'll notice that in the wall itself, we come up four courses, then we have a mortar course, up 4 courses, another mortar course, and then on top we'll put the headers on in cement.
We've got
but
this
to all intents and purposes, it is a dry
boiled linseed oil.
It's consistent with what we've had at Lock 18. It's consistent with
and the horseshoe.
You've been here filming before, and I've been digging out bricks down here, and I've been saying, "Oh, the earth gives up its bounty," and that's what it is. But these were bricks that were laid when the canal was constructed, and they did not use a bonding agent. They did not use lime cement. They didn't use our cement. They didn't use anything. They just put bricks on top of bricks. And that's why it was so good for us digging them out. We didn't have to clean them before we actually started using them on this. So, it's
had mortar on the top 2 layers.
Yes, it's a system that's worked. It's been in existence for over 200 years.
This is the original brickwork from 1790s, and we're reclaiming it. A lot of it's in very good condition. You know, it doesn't take a lot of cleaning, just a bit of scraping off. And they come up beautiful. Look at the quality of that.
So
it's not covered in lime mortar or anything like that. It's beautiful. And so they're easy to reclaim and then stack. And then they'll all go in the new wall there. 220 years in the wall, and they come out like brand new, ready to be used again, with very little cleaning on them. There's only a bit of lime mortar being used in a few places where they've needed to. The rest of it has been laid dry. Beautiful, very good.
And those bricks that we were disturbing, as I say, were probably put there when the canal was originally built in 1794.
Yeah, we've got a foundation to this wall.
Yes, we've
causing it the batter to slope backwards.
Yes, we've got the foundation, and there is that slope on it to give it that extra sort of strength, if you like, to resist the bank of soil that's behind it. And you go up to Derbyshire and have a look around the fields up there and all of the dry stone walls. You go round the country lanes around here, you'll find stuff like this all over the place. So this is not something new, it's a tried and tested method. It's just a matter that we've got to make sure that it's done properly from the start, hence the foundation and the couple of courses of cemented bricks. That's where we're at the moment.
Well, good morning. Here we are today at Tamworth Road. We're building a retaining wall to provide the north wall of the canal near where we've had to lower the canal channel by about 2.5 meters. And the technique we're using here is to create a bag wall with bags full of concrete. And the concrete's made in a very ecological way. We're using the natural sands that we're actually digging out with cement, mixing it in our own batching facility here, and then placing it in. The bags go into the trench. It's a very safe method. That means nobody has to go in the trench because the machine does all the work. And these bagged walls will be run all the way along here on this side, and it suits us to make that. It's safe, it's ecological, it ticks all the boxes. This is the robust track mixer. It fits on a number of different machines. It's powered by the machine, and it mixes effectively the concrete that we're producing. And this is what I would say is definitely concrete that is the most ecological concrete you can make, because we're actually using the sands that we're actually digging out of the trench to put back in the trench in a bag with some cement on it. And this is a wonderful piece of kit. Not only does it mix it, lifts it up, it batches it, discharges it into the bags. We worked a technique, Steve has worked a technique to hang the bag on it so people don't have to stand around here waiting for the bag. We put basically a bucket full of sand in, 2 bags of cement in there, add water to make it into sufficiently creamy mix that in fact it will discharge through the tremie pipe on the bottom. It's not the highest strength concrete, but that's not what we want here. We will be putting another wall in front of this particular wall up to water level, and we will be grading these bags back up the bank here to try and hold and stop erosion as much as anything else. So that at the moment is fitted on the Wiedemann. We've got with that the excavator, the 9-ton excavator, which is digging the hole and lifting the bags and placing the bags into the hole. We don't have to put anybody down the hole, and so nobody goes near the bottom. We're now discharging the mix that's been mixed into the bag. We put 2 batches of the mix into the bag, so it's a double bag, a 2-batch mix. That's as much as we can get into there. They're 1-ton bags. We're only filling them to just below 1 ton. and those are lifted and put straight into the bottom, and then we course those bags along to make a wall. This is a bit experimental, but there's no reason why it shouldn't work. We've done sandbag walls before, we haven't done 1 ton sandbags before.
Yeah.
It's been a little over a year since the Trust applied for funding to create the Darnford Moors Ecology Park. A successful bid was made to the ERDF and HS2 Community Fund, allowing work to start on Phase 1, east of the lift bridge. Another successful bid was made to BIFA award for Phase 2 and 3, the section from the lift bridge to Darnford Lane. By engaging specialist contractors, On-Site Central Limited, for the lining work, as well as by using volunteer effort for pretty much anything else, the Trust has been able to make remarkable progress in getting this section in water. With the contractor's work almost complete, water is going in, and now it's the turn of the volunteers again, to create towpaths and planting environments.
Good morning. Here we are again at Darnford Moors Ecology Park. We're at the situation where the lining is now complete. On-site have done a wonderful job in getting the lining completed, but the storms over the last few days did cause a little bit of damage, a bit of washout on the side, and On-Site are back on site again today, and they are using our machine to do some remedial works. In addition, today we're very fortunate to have for the second day of 3 days with Jaguar Land Rover corporate volunteers here, and they came down and they did something like 70 metres of towpath I'm standing on now yesterday, and the challenge to the team we've got on site today is to do more than 70 metres. Today, the situation is that they have just, On-Site, have just delivered a much more substantial water pump to pump and start to fill than the tiny pump that they had up there. Well, what you see in front of you now is something like 550 metres of completed canal that is ready to be in water. So yes, a momentous occasion for us. It's a real milestone. They've now moved into testing the whole section now, all 550 metres. They went through the early test regimes. They were going through a number of processes to make sure it is compliant.
This digger is past its best.
There's something like 68,000 hours on the clock, which is a lot of doing. She's been a faithful old lady, and she's done virtually everything we've asked of her. She's moved thousands of tons of earth, incalculable amounts of bricks, tons and tons of cement and concrete. I love coming down to work and driving this machine, and it becomes part of you when you've been doing it for some time. Not everything lasts forever. We don't last forever. I'll retire from this one day, and it's about time this old girl retired as well.
It's starting to spend more time being repaired than actually doing any digging. Our big give appeal this year is to raise money to replace it with a slightly newer second-hand model. Please donate to our big give appeal. From the 28th of November to the 5th of December, anything you give will be doubled. One donation, twice the impact. One donation, twice the impact.
Darnford Moors Ecology Park, I mean, just the most amazing transformation. A year ago, the channel was roughly dug out, much as it is just a little bit, the tiny bit that's left. But it was roughly dug out and had been so for, I think, over 20 years, which was selling water to the farmer. HS2 has taken over our land and the farmer's land, but we kept paying the Environment Agency for the abstraction licence in anticipation of needing the water, obviously at a fixed rate, but in order to fill this. Further up, of course, our own guys dug out where Darnford Brook, which is here, it overflows up behind me in the woodland every winter. So with advice from the Wildlife Trust, we dug it down to the level of below the level of the base of the brook, so that now you have a pond which will stay in water all the year round, so we have an even different sort of habitat. And I've seen little egrets down here a couple of times since that pond was created back in the spring, so never seen them when I've worked down here before, so that's an interesting bit of the ecology aspects.